And here he is, the Philly bad guy. Welcome aboard. And Big Sills. Holy cow. Holy cow, man. A lot of crying, a lot of whining. It's all good, man. You see, I'm a helper. I'm here to help. And this is what I'm going to do. Because some of you get very upset with Big Sills. And we touch everyone off. I don't know what it is. You know, one of my program directors back in the day compared me to Trump. And I was like, I'm nothing like that guy. She goes, no. And Sandra just used the word antagonist. And I'm like, does that mean asshole? And I'm like, does that mean asshole? And I'm like, here we go. And I'm sitting there having a cup of coffee this morning. I don't see AJ Brown. Sileo thinks he's Trump. No, I don't. I'm Dan Sileo. See the difference between me and you, RTF? You know what it is? I've never wished to be anybody but me. I'm very happy with Big Sills. Did you see the Nick Wright clip about Howie? I did. Nick Wright and I are one of the only people that look at that guy and go, not what he is, but okay. I'm not here to really start anything here. I'm really not. And I don't know what happens with people. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Micah Parsons. Dan Sileo's a CPA, a certified professional asshole. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, sure. Okay. I'd rather be that than a glorified CPA GM. That's what I'd rather be. Big Sills, you'd make a great press secretary. No, I don't think I would, because I tell you to sit your ass down. Nick Wright never played a sport in his life. You know what? RTF, good call there, man. Yes, sir. Okay? Very good. Very good. Spin. Tone show was great. Then go watch it. Have a great one. See you. Thanks for telling me. I know he's good. Remember something, Spin. I've been doing this for 35 years. There's people that have been in this business that come and go. And I've been in it 35 years and sucked for 35 years. According to you. Great. Welcome aboard. I hope to see you in 35 years when you get yourself a real good opportunity. Fantastic. See, I don't have to wish to be anybody because the Eagles watch me and their players watch me. I did see the AJ presser. I saw Xander, and Xander doesn't even know this right now, but Xander gave me a topic. He gave me a topic. He said if AJ Brown continues his career in his current pace, he's a Hall of Famer. Okay. We're going to start the program off. Also, we're going to take a look at the other teams in the NFC East in their draft day and their draft weekend that they went through. Okay, so we're going to do that as well. And we'll take a look at that here. And we'll go through the progressions of the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders draft. So we'll do that here. But Xander started the show off. And AJ Brown, this is where I want to stay for the rest of my career. Well, AJ Owens got his money. That was really my only true take in his whole conversation, was that AJ was going to get a new contract. Once Devontae got his new deal, they had to make sure that this guy didn't bitch and moan. And he's rightfully so making a ton of money. You know what's funny? I never said he didn't deserve it, did I? Is it right, Xander? Anyone? Have I ever said AJ Brown didn't deserve more money? No. As a matter of fact, I said he did deserve more money. But I said that he would bitch about it because the kid got his dough. The guy St. Brown got more $30 million a year, and he was going to bitch and moan. There's no question, in my opinion, he would have held out. He would have held out probably during the OTAs and such, because you don't get fined like that, only when it comes to training camp or mandatory mini camps, from what I understand. That's all I said. I never at any time said he didn't deserve the money. He's put up the numbers. He truly has. But I knew he'd cry. And he did. You see him at the presser. Thank you. I love everyone. I thought you loved the Patriots. Okay? A.J. Owens got his money. Now let's take a look at how many people think that right now A.J. Brown is building a Hall of Fame career. Nick, I know he talks about me. I know him and Devontae both, with that little lover's picture that they got up there on Devontae. He is numbers wise. Brian goes, I believe it. Joe, who is also antagonist here, may have the best one so far. Too early to say. Xander thinks he's on track to be a Hall of Famer. His stats show it. Really? Okay. AJ's a beast. He is. He is. Hall of Fame AJ. That's Xander. Okay. Is AJ Brown better than Cooper Kupp, in your opinion? Hall of Fame trajectory. Is he better than Cooper Kupp? No. Yes. Fuck yeah. Yes. Okay. Different. That's not a bad take, Brian. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Better hands and yak. Kupp is great at separation. How about this? First 5 years. Is he better than Antonio Brown? Is A.J. Brown, in his first 5 years, and his trajectory, better than Antonio Brown? No. Almost. No. Of course not, Sills. Be for real. Well, I think you're going to be kind of surprised. AB was that dude. It was really his sixth year where he had that 1,900-yard year. He started, if you think about it, his first year, AB, he had 16 catches. Debatable? Okay. Antonio Brown, in his first 5 years in the National Football League, had 390 catches. A.J. Brown has 379. Now, again, A.J. had to deal with being on a football team with Derrick Henry in his heyday. You're not targeting A.J. Brown when Derrick Henry's on your team running for $2,000. It's not going to work. I don't give a shit how good you are. I'm going to give it to a guy who's a human highlight reel. So, I mean, to see AJ have that many catches, it actually shocks me. Cooper Kupp in that first 5 years had 433 catches. I'm going to make a point here in a minute. Cubs got 433. AJ's got 379. And Brown's got 390. So he's the least of the three guys. And Cup and Brown, are they going to be Hall of Famers? I don't know. Here's the shocking one. A.J. Brown in his first 5 years, 59-47. Cup, 55-17. Brown, 52-59. But they're pretty much in the same room. I tell you this, that in the next 6 or 7 years, the toughest position to make the Hall of Fame at will be wide receiver. There are so many guys. And if you look at it, I wrote this down. Tyreek Hill has more yards and more catches. I think AJ in the last, since 2019, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's in that list of 5. I think I wrote down. Here we go. Tyreek Hill has 494 catches since 2019 with 6,884 and 51 touchdowns. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Davante Adams is second with 524 catches. Remember something. AJ has 379. Tyreek Hill has 494. Adams has 524. A.J. Brown is nowhere in the room with even Davante Adams. And he's got 6,584 and 56 touchdowns to A.J. Brown's 40. Stephon Diggs has better numbers than A.J. Owens or A.J. Brown. 508, 6502, and 43 touchdowns. One more than A.J. Brown. And here's Brown at 379, 59-47, and Jefferson is on his heels with 392, 58-99, and 30 touchdowns. You're going to have a crowded room. There's a lot of guys in today's National Football League that are on a so-called Hall of Fame trajectory. It's not just A.J. Brown. So for him to get into the Hall of Fame, he'll have to win a title. A.J. Brown is not Terrell Owens or Randy Moss. He's not that spectacular. He's those guys. How are you going to make it into the Hall of Fame when you got at least 6 players? And Jefferson will go past him. Jefferson played 9 games last year and had 1,100 yards. And by the way, I'm not dismissing his numbers and his work in his first 5 years. I think that's great. My point is that making it to the Hall of Fame in a league today that's conducive to that position, and that position continuing to be a position of need now, it used to just be a position like a Christmas ball on a tree. Now it's part of the tree. It's a coveted position. By the time A.J. Brown is done with his career, there'll be at least 25 guys that will have the same numbers as him. Why? Because that's what the league wants. Stephon Diggs has better numbers. Cooper Kupp has almost the same numbers. Antonio Brown, if we go 60, Antonio Brown in his 6th year had 139 catches for 1,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. He's going to have to continue this pace, which means this. Is he not you think that guy is not going to bitch with a $25 million wide receiver on the other end and a running back you just acquired for $10 million? If those totals start to go down for him, Xander and everybody are assuming that the numbers are going to continue to go with the way they go. That's not championship football. What did Michael Jordan have to do to win titles? You know what that was? He had to spread the basketball around. You know, when Jordan retired, he was third in steals, and he was in the top 10 in assists. That's when they started winning championships. They played championship football or basketball. So when you say A.J. Brown is trending to be a Hall of Famer, so is Cooper Kupp, so is Justin Jefferson, so is Tyreek Hill, so is Stephon Diggs, so is Devontae Adams. At the end of the day, dude, stand in line. But that's also true for King Henry. He's number 36 right now and still 17th in rushing record, is not in Hall of Fame. People overestimate him getting into the Hall. I think you're right, James. I think you're right. I think he's got to at least get to 12,000 yards rushing and over 100 touchdowns for him to be considered in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The only thing that I would say, and thank you for the super chat, the only thing that I would say, James, that's different is that position doesn't, like, do you really think you're going to see another 2,000-yard running back in today's NFL? Do you think you'll ever see that again? To me, I think a 2,000-yard running back will be as uncommon as a 300-game winner in baseball. You're never going to see a 300-game winner ever again in Major League Baseball. Why? Because pitchers only pitch 5 2/3. It's a game of bullpens now. Teams with the great starting pitchers don't win World Series. Teams with great bullpens and closers, they win World Series. I mean, look at Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw's been the best pitcher in baseball for the last 12, 14 years. He won't even remotely come close to 300 wins. That'll never happen again. Never happen. Never happen. So a 2,000-yard rusher, I say that never happens again because the game is not, they're devaluing the running back position. You can win a Super Bowl with Smith. If AJ is going to complain about getting 10-plus targets a game, it'll stifle the offense. And like it did last year, balanced teams win championships. Correct. So to what Xander's point is, his quest to be a Hall of Famer like Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and the rest of these guys with all these numbers hurts the team. Hurts the team. Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne are the best wide receiving duos I've ever seen, never complain about targets. Those two guys never complained. Never complained. One's a Hall of Famer, one will be. Would you prefer a nobody trash can wide receiver? You mean like in Kansas City or in New England? Let me show you a statistic here. Why Wentz did it. Let me show you something here. In the last 23 seasons, they have the luxury of Mahomes and Brady. They are the exceptions, not the rule. That's right. Exceptional quarterbacking. Couldn't have said it any better. It's not hypotheticals. Here's the numbers. In the last 23 years, two teams have dominated the NFL. They've been to 13 Super Bowls, winning 9 of them. They've been to 13 of the 23 Super Bowls. Two teams have dominated. Why? Quarterback. the reason that the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Ravens, these teams don't dominate? They don't have the right quarterback. And finding that guy's impossible. Throwing to one wide receiver, what's the point? Keeps you in the game? Look how far away you are from those two teams. I wouldn't look at Amendola and Edelman and go, those guys will never see the Hall of Fame unless they're buying tickets. So what's the point? You must not have the quarterback. You're not dominating the NFL. Then again, it's not an Eagle thing. Cowboys aren't dominating. Rams kind of have been good last 5 years. 2 NFC titles and a Super Bowl. Okay. Flexing, Amendola, outstanding postseason player along with Edelman. I think Edelman, what? Isn't he an MVP in a Super Bowl? Right? Last I checked, 11, Gronk's not a wide receiver. Perennial good defenses. Oh, you mean a balanced roster in the last 23 years. Good defense, great quarterback, great coach. Win Super Bowls? Okay. You're right. You're right. Hey, when I say the last 23 years, two teams have dominated, and you guys go, well, Brady and them were outliers. You think Troy Aikman was an outlier quarterback? Winning 3 of them? Players only bitch for numbers so they get paid. That's right. You get paid on numbers, not championship. AJ's extensions will keep him drama-free this season. How he's all in. Was smart to pay him. Now focus. Melo? I agree with you. I agree with your take, Melo. By the way, and Melo, this is why. Hey, Sills, do you have a problem, though, paying him? No. But what was your reason for paying him 2 years before you had to? Exactly what Melo just said. JM goes, Aikman was okay. Okay, well, you wake me up when Jalen wins 3 Super Bowls. Or a Super Bowl. Aikman had defense coaching just like Brady and Mahomes. Senor. Coaching, quarterbacking, and a roster. Interesting. Isn't that what I've been preaching? Could Jalen be Aikman? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Done right with good coaching? Yeah. Yes. 100%. He deserves his money. But I think if he's not getting the targets, he's going to complain. Oh, he's going to complain. He was complaining when he got the targets last year. Oh, he's still going to complain. Why? He wants to be a Hall of Famer. You know, when T.O. was going through the process of being a Pro Football Hall of Fame, what did he keep bringing up all the time? Look at my numbers. Compare them to the rest of the league and to the rest of the people in the Hall of Fame. Remember he would say that? T.O. wasn't wrong. Same with A.J. Brown. By the way, this is not a diss session. This is telling you a little bit about today's modern day player at the wide receiver position. And again, I want to make sure I go back and make the comment. Did he deserve the money? Yeah. I don't ever. But what was the point of paying him? Was what Melo said. The Eagles paid him. They went like this. You know, He is one of the top 3 guys in the league. Look at his numbers. But if you're one of the top 3 guys in the league, where were you the last 6 weeks of the season last year? How could you be considered the top 3 wide receiver? Do you really think that A.J. Brown deserved the contract extension with the play of football and missing the playoff game the last 6 weeks of the season and then missing the playoff game? Do you really think he deserved that money? Or how about this? Not the money, but to have a contract extension after the way he performed the last 2 months and then didn't show up for the playoff game. Really? You thought you would make him the highest paid player in the league with his performance the last 6 weeks. Look at his performance the last 6 weeks. I'm not sure he had a 100-yard game. Are you saying he wasn't hurt? I'm saying he didn't even stand on the sidelines with his team. I'm not disputing he's hurt. I'm disputing he felt like he had to be better drinking Mai Tais in Atlantic City. You really think? Now, again, they did it for what Melo said. That's my problem with it. It's like, so you did it because you didn't want any shit being kicked up like I said it would. Hey, can somebody tell me in the last 6 weeks of the season, did he have a 100-yard game? And then he doesn't show. Can you imagine this? Hey, Xander, I don't show up for the next 2 months. And you know what? Hey, draft night, I'm not going to do anything draft night. Yeah, forget it. Just call me on Tuesday of next week. Flexing. Like I said, look at Stevens. AJ dogged it big time. You paid him too. No, flexing. You didn't pay him too early. You paid him because you had to. You paid him because you had to. Is he a Hall of Fame talent? He keeps the pace up. He's going to be in. How about this? He's going to be in the conversation. He will be. I'm not disputing the player's talent. My problem with him is his attitude. Okay? Draft let down again. No. Roland, AJ left us with Quez. Says our head coach will always be our weakness on the big stage, not Hurts or AJ. Okay. So you're missing one of the components that Xander said. Great coaching, great quarterback play, right? And a great defense. Well, you don't have a great head coach. You don't have a great defense. And your quarterback is not those two dudes. How are you winning a Super Bowl when you can't connect all the dots to those 3 things you need and how 2 teams have dominated the Super Bowl era the last 23 years? When you can't connect them all. You can't even connect 2 of the 3. Again, did he deserve it? The money? Yeah. He did. His performance does dictate that. But I don't think they paid him for that. They paid him because they paid Devontae. If they would have picked a 5th-year option up on Devontae Smith, they would not have given him a contract. Personally, I think the Eagles like Devontae Smith more than him. And I think because of how he constructed his contract and took $12 million less over 3 years of that 5-year deal, I love him more. That guy is an Eagle. That guy is an Eagle at heart, Devontae Smith. Make no mistake about it. Has nothing to do with money. He looks at it at the grass isn't greener on the other side. You could not have drafted a better man and a better player than Devontae Smith. He proves it daily to you that he is a bona fide Philadelphia Eagle, and he deserves to be in the same context as Harold Carmichael and also with Mike Quick. And A.J. Brown deserves to be in the conversation with Terrell Owens. Great players. Phenomenal. Get their numbers, get their money. That's who they are. Now, is one guy more of a jerk than the other? Of course. And it's not A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown and Terrell Owens are more alike than you think. And Devontae Smith is more like Deshaun Jackson, Mike Quick, and Harold Carmichael. They loved where they played. I mean, do you see it any other way? When you look at A.J. Brown, don't you see Owens? Great talent, superstar talent, cares about his numbers, bitches about everything. Not the same mental attitude. He's a better teammate, Brown. But they're a lot alike. And then when you look at a guy like Deshaun Jackson and you look at Devontae Smith, don't they remind you of one another? They love playing in Philly. Hey, look at JM. I see Irvin. Well, before you start barking about Michael Irvin, he has 3 Super Bowl rings and is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Is a national champion. He's a national champion and won 3 Super Bowls. Don't ever use the word Michael Irvin and A.J. Brown ever again, because they're nowhere near the same. That guy tortured you. That's why you had to throw shit at him, because he tortured you. Okay? 3 Super Bowl. He has as many Super Bowl rings as Jerry Rice. He's not a Heisman, though. How many Heisman Trophy winners have ever, at quarterback, ever won a Super Bowl? Let's see. Has there been one? Roger Staubach. And who? And who? Staubach and who? Since 1967, has there only been one guy who won a Heisman that was a quarterback that won a Super Bowl? Peyton Manning never won a Heisman Trophy. Charles Woodson beat him out. Manning never won a Heisman. Lost it to Charles Woodson. Lamar thinks he won Super Bowls. Well, I think it's only Staubach. So it was. I thought that was a great topic that Xander brought up. It's a position that there's a lot of players that are trending to be Hall of Famers. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill. And Hill's got a Super Bowl ring. So Hill would go in before AJ ever would. He's got a Super Bowl ring. I mean, ring, numbers, plus maybe the greatest deep threat in the history of the league. Rings over Heisman any day. That's why the Heisman Trophy is the most overrated award in American sports history. It never translates. Oh, yes, Plunkett. Plunkett, they're very nicely done, Anthony. Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls, actually, and won a Heisman at Stanford. Nicely done. Nicely done, Anthony. Okay, nicely done. Jim Plunkett won at Stanford, I think, in 70, and then went on to win 2 Super Bowls with the Raiders. Nicely done. That's right. Can you imagine that? Jim Plunkett is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and not even a conversation of him being a Hall of Famer. Not even in the conversation. And he was Rookie of the Year in New England. Not even in the conversation for any kind of Hall of Fame status. And he's the only 2-time Super Bowl champion, not in the Hall of Fame. Um, Sims didn't win that other one. He was the backup to Jeff Hostetler. I can't think of another one. Costar won 2. Dawson won 1. So, I mean, pretty crazy. 2 Super Bowl titles. Ring over Hall of Fame. Tony, it's funny. You know what? Xander doesn't, well, he does. He knows now. Tony, do you know what I said? And I did this in Miami. And you want to know the backlash I got in Miami when I said this? Would you rather have Dan Marino's career or would you rather have Bob Greasy's career? Everyone laughed at me. And I said this, well, Greasy's got a gold jacket. He's got 3 AFC title rings. And he's got 2 Super Bowl rings. And one of them was undefeated. And they went, you're telling me you think that Bob Greasy is better than Dan Marino? I said, I never said that. He's more accomplished. They laughed, but they didn't want to hear the truth. That Dan Marino is, well, all of his records are all he has is the gold jacket. At the end of the day, Greasy has 3 AFC titles, 2 Super Bowl championships, and a gold jacket. Yeah, but Marino was better. Well, I know. But he's not more accomplished. Resumes matter. Aaron Rodgers is a better player than Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's a better quarterback. There lies the difference. That's why when you see a guy like Mahomes, he's better than Brady. It's like watching Tiger and comparing him to Jack. He's a better player. Jack's more accomplished. 19 runner-ups in majors, 18 major championships. He's a better golfer. He's more accomplished than Tiger. But Tiger's better. There shows you that ability and talent sometimes doesn't supersede what a guy's accomplishments are. You could be the more talent. Look. Who do you think will be a more accomplished player at the end of their career? And let me ask, I want Xander's thoughts in this. Who do you think will be a more accomplished wide receiver when everything is said and done? Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown? Who do you think will be more accomplished? For the record, I think it's Devontae Smith. I do. He's a better teammate. Like, whose career would you rather have? Marvin Harrison's or Terrell Owens' career? Whose career would you rather have? I'll take Marvin Harrison's. All the AFC championship games, Super Bowl, a Super Bowl champion. All Owens has is numbers. Marvin Harrison has a legacy. Owens doesn't have a legacy. He's just a great player. I think legacies matter. That's why in the conversation always came up, who's better, Wilt or Russell? They went with legacy. Russell. And all those championships in Boston. Wilt was the better player. By far, 50 a night, 25 boards. Wilt by far was the better player. Didn't matter. Russell was the more accomplished man. Flexing. I'm with you. I'm a Wilt guy. Wilt was better. Look at that. Absolutely. Wilt was a better player. Who's the more accomplished player? Wilt or Russell? Wilt or Russell? Right. So I thought it was really because I saw Xander post that, and he was like, "This guy's on his way to the Hall of Fame." Is he? You're going to have to separate yourself somehow by building a legacy. And the only way you build a legacy is being in one place. That's why Devontae Smith took $12 million less, because he wants to build something special in Philly. That's why he did it. He's a special kid, man. Rings. Devontae took less money. Same as Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush will, what's his name? Not Cooper Rush. Cooper Kupp is going to go to the Hall of Fame before A.J. Brown would. Why? That sensational season he had. His numbers are compatible with his, and he's got a ring. He's got 2 NFC championship rings. He's got more of a resume, and he's accomplished more. Sills, but AJ's better. I know. And I agree. And a Super Bowl MVP. So who do you think, if you were going to vote for an MVP? By the way, we have Jason Cole. I forgot to send that to you. Who's a Hall of Fame voter. I'll ask him all this. I'll ask him all this at 3:30. Okay? I'll ask him all this at 3:30. I think it's the toughest position to try to get into the Hall of Fame, and that includes quarterback, because there's so many good players at that position. Winning matters. Hey, what's this? Is A.J. Brown, listen to me what I'm saying. Is A.J. Brown a better player than Cooper Kupp? Yeah. Who's more accomplished? Cooper Kupp by far. Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, 2-time NFC champion. I mean, seasonal records that will be broken, but are some of the most iconic of all time now. He's the best receiver in Rams history. AJ's better. I agree. You can't just have numbers, though, son. You got to do something. Look at Randy Moss. Randy Moss and Owens are the greatest example of the wide receiver position and attitude of today. Are those two guys in the top 3 greatest athletes ever to play the wide receiver position next to Jerry Rice? Not a question. Of course they are. Who's more accomplished? Well, Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice. What's funny is the last 23 years, Amendola and Edelman are more accomplished than Randy Moss. You know what? Here's something crazy. Julian Edelman and Damon Amendola are more accomplished in the postseason than Terrell Owens, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, all the great ones that you call in A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson. They're 10 times more accomplished. Dan would probably be lit back in the day, bro. Playing couple notes. Eagles DBs always hurt because they don't have LBs. No, because of the pass rush. Tony, excellent breakdown dissenting the difference between accomplished players and better skilled players. At the end of the day, it's championships. Tony, if this was tennis, great. You're right, Tony. Tony, how about this? T.O. in the Super Bowl was magical. and did not, and he lost. So what? Cooper Kupp is an MVP in a Super Bowl. Owens was magical. Isn't that sound nice? Cooper Kupp is a Super Bowl most valuable player. Wow. Some accomplishment. He was really magical. Well, then what was Kupp? And I'm not even a fan of the guy. I'm not even a fan. No one remembers losers. The only people that remember people like that, Jalen Hurts is losing effort against Mahomes, and Owens is losing efforts against the Patriots, are Eagle fans. This offense better be the best in 20 years. Anthony, your group, holy cow. Your group is as good as I've seen. T.O. was way worse than A.J. I'm not disputing that. A.J. Brown, he's a nuisance. T.O. was a locker room wrecker. Absolutely, because you know why? It never stopped. It was 24/7, everything. And it was public. Quarterback sucks. I hate him. He hates me. The coach is not throwing, all that shit. It was a daily basis. Okay? Well, JM, if Joe Flacco can be an MVP, I sure hope your boy can be one day. Let me finish up. I didn't do something with your last 3 draft picks yesterday when we were breaking down the Eagle draft. So I want to do that. By the way, we're going to go into the NFC and the other teams, and we're going to take a look at the drafts that some of these other teams had in the NFC East. And I heard a lot of people talking about this Trevor Egan kid that you got from Michigan. I think a lot of people have trouble with him because he had 37 starts. He was on the best offensive line in college football. They won the Joe Moore Award. The Joe Moore Award, and I'll tell you who Joe Moore is. Some of you probably know who he is or was. Joe Moore was an offensive line coach that coached at Pitt. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he coached at Notre Dame as well. And he coached Bill Fralick. He coached Jimbo Colvert. He coached Russ Grimm. He coached a ton of guys that was at that Pitt program that would go on. I think even Mark May, he coached, and he was truly, probably, in my opinion, the greatest offensive line coach in the history of college football. And that Michigan team won, and he was the captain, this kid Trevor Egan, of that team. I think he's a nasty guy. And personally, I think you're looking at your starter at right guard and Trevor Egan. And you got him in the 5th. Again, a quality pick. I'm sorry. I disagree with people. I saw some people with a D+ grade on the kid. I completely 1,000% disagree. Did you watch him against Penn State and him blowing dudes off the ball? Do you know they didn't throw a pass in that second half? They didn't throw a pass. You know what he basically did, Trevor Egan? I'm going to give it to you the way a player does. He lined up over those Penn State guys, and he said this to them. Hey, you, I'm going to fucking run right over you. Stop me. Ball's coming here. And we're running at you. We're not throwing it. That's a game Harbaugh got suspended. I'm running at you. Penn State had one of the top flight defenses in the country. And they ran that team over for over 300 or maybe even 400 rushing yards in that game. And he was the centerpiece for that. How are you D+ing that? Do you want to know something that happened for the first time in the recent draft, you know where more players were drafted from this year? The Big Ten. It's the first time the Big Ten beat the Southeastern Conference for the most draft picks. I was stunned. You know why? Because of Michigan. Michigan put a ton of guys in the draft because of Harbaugh. And now you've got Jeff Stoutland coaching him. In my opinion, this guy here, Trevor Keegan, is the next Jason Kelsey. Fifth round. People have doubts on him. How could you have doubts on a national champion captain? Then he asked the most important question, Sills, then how come he fell to the fifth? There were so many guys in this draft that are so good in the O-line. I told you there were 10 players that had first round grades. 9 went. And there are a ton of guys who were, do you understand? It was like a 93 rating. And it would go down to 89. And the 89th guy would get picked in the 5th round. That shows you how deep that position. In any other draft, Trevor Keegan is probably drafted in the 2nd round. Crazy he fell that far. He's easily a top 100. Absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. So when I hear people talking, well, they're assuming because he went in the 5th round that he has some sort of intangible that's not good. That's not the case. I think you got your starter at right guard here. Do I think Tyler Steen's going to beat him out? Not a chance. Steen's going to be your swing guard. I love this pick. Could be the best pick on the board. You may have found another guy for the next 10 years. I love that pick. I heard all these people talking. What could you possibly know about the evaluation of a position? This was the best offensive line draft in the last 25 years. So if a guy's in the 5th round and he's got an 89 rating and Fuaga had a 93, really? That's preference. 37 starts. Michigan. Played for Harbaugh. What's that mean? Coached hard. Now he goes to the ultimate teacher to take you to the next level. You couldn't ask for a better situation if you're Trevor Keegan. It wasn't the number next to his name, 5th round. It's where he went. Why do you think that kid Becton went to Philly? Because of Jeff Stoutland. He didn't go there because of the Eagles. He went there because of Jeff Stoutland. Saved my career, coach. Keegan is asking him to elevate his career. Spectacular pick. Spectacular pick. Captain of a national championship football team. And you know what you love about him too? You know what I like about that Michigan team? Reminded me of Miami team. Everybody hated him. Everybody hated the coach. Everybody wanted him to lose. And they beat Bama in overtime. They theoretically ended Nick Saban's coaching career. I mean, you had to go through Bama to win the national. Dude, the Bama game was the national title game for Michigan, not the Washington game. The Washington game was cleanup. It was just another game on the schedule. The Alabama game was the national title game. And I think this guy's got an attitude. I completely disagree with anybody's negative assessment. I saw D plus. I saw a D plus rating on him from CBS. Where in the world in his year starting at Michigan did you see D plus? Where did you see that? Xander goes, I'm with you, Sills. I love the pick. That, my friends, is your starting. So you're going to have Trevor Egan, captain of a national championship football team, next to Lane Johnson, helping him, and Jeff Stoutland coaching him. And on the other side, you got the highest paid guard in the league, Landon Dickerson, and Jordan Mailata. I'm jealous. I'm totally jealous. Dude, I really want football. I hate having to wait to the start of my new semester when I'm hey, Crowley. Me too. I get it. I love the pick, man. Hey, listen. Anybody could say, hey, look, people could take a shit on me for taking a crap on the third pick that the Eagles got with that Jalix Hunt. There's a lot of guys that like that pick. How could you like that pick and hate this one? Is it you just maybe hate Michigan? A top 15 pick in a prove-it year with the best O-line coach in the league has a lot of upside. Well, I think Sirianni has more on the line than Hurts does, but let's move on. So that Trevor Keegan pick, I'm sorry I didn't do this yesterday. I should have. But I went with the top guys. Then I started doing more due diligence on them. Do you know who said some really great things about Trevor Keegan? I should have got him on today. Randy Cross. Randy goes, how'd that guy go in the fifth? And he and I then deduced it. He goes, it's the best O-line draft in 25 years. Sills, is Lane's replacement coming in next year's draft? Yeah, Denny probably next year. I still think he's got 4 great years if he wants. 3 tops. Get this. In his 4th year, Lane Johnson's still going to be a 94% the best right tackle in the game. There'll probably be 1 guy better or 2 guys better than him. So he can play until he doesn't want to play anymore. Oh, Dave, that's great to hear. Baldy loves him too. I saw even there's a guy on our network that hates him. Or came on our network and hates. Where do you see that? Joe goes, Lane Johnson, Hall of Famer? Absolutely. Probably not first ballot. Kelsey's first ballot. Lane's probably second or third. Probably second or third. Okay. Let's go on to Johnny Wilson, wide receiver. Many of you asked me yesterday, and I didn't hit on him. 6'6", FSU. Here's the deal with him. And what makes him an interesting draft pick, they took him in the 6th. You know what makes him interesting? He got better every year he was at Florida State, and he got better and better every year he was there in Tallahassee. He got better and better and better. So what's that mean? The Eagles are looking at him as a late bloomer. You know, sometimes guys, they're better pros. Here, how many people remember Terrell Owens? Or not Terrell Owens. What was the running back for the Broncos that just recently went to the Hall of Fame? How many people remember him at Georgia? I mean, how many people remember, what was the guy's name? He just went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Terrell Davis. Do you remember him at all? At Georgia? He was a better pro. So this guy, Johnny Wilson, at 6'6", and I really love what they're doing there at Florida State with the skilled set people. So this pick here, again, 6th round pick, the Eagles looked at him as a guy who was getting better and better and better. So could he translate that game to the next level here? We'll see. But it's a good pick because it's a 6th-round pick and it's a potential pick. Dylan McMahon, interesting. I think they're going to play him at center, not guard. I think this is a guy who is in the 6th round here. I think he's going to be Cam Jurgens' backup. He's a tenacious player from NC State. I saw him against the University of Miami. They're going to play him, in my opinion, at center. Because they could swing him over to guard as well. But, this 5th and the 2 6th-rounders, I really like them. I don't have a problem with any of these 3 guys here. They're all value picks, and they're good. They all had really good college careers. They were all coached by great people. NC State, Florida State, Michigan. I have no problems at all with these guys. And by the way, I think every one of these guys that I just talked about here, these 3 men, I think they're going to make the team. And I'm not talking about the practice squad. I think he's going to make the team. So, I mean, you look at those rounds. Yeah, I think they're going to make the 53-man roster. I really do. I'm just going to say this. I didn't do it yesterday, but this Trevor Keegan kid, he's my favorite pick in the draft for the Eagles. He's my favorite pick. He's your future right guard. May even win it this year. And I disagree with people who say that this was a bad pick. 37 starts, national champion, was on the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line, has an asshole attitude, and in my opinion, I think you're looking at your starting right guard. Okay? And if you really think about it and you go back into the draft and you look at the draft and you look at their picks, and now you go down the line here and you take a look at the picks, every single one of these picks all have great value. The Quinton Mitchell, great value. Cooper DeJean, great value. Jalix Hunter, it's the only one I hate. Will Shipley, you didn't stretch yourself out for that. The Smith pick, I see Deebo Samuel here. You guys talked me into it. Value pick. Jeremiah Trotter, like some of you said, Sil's upgrading his draft now. From a B-. Am I upgrading it? Yeah. I'll give it a B+. This kid Keegan's going to start. Quinton Mitchell's going to start. DeJean could start. And do I think Trotter could beat out Dean? I have no faith in Dean. I will. I'll upgrade it to a B+. By the way, do I think anybody had an A in addressing all their needs with quality players? I think a few. So I would then put the Eagles in my top 5. Yeah. The more and more I talk to people about Keegan, and I watched him, I voted him like All-American. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I actually think I voted that guy from NC State. I think I voted him on the all ACC team. I know I did Keegan All Big Ten and All American. Yeah. Yeah, B plus. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's funny here. You know what elevated your draft? Do you know what elevated your draft? You're 5th and 2 6s. Not the top end. I like the center. Wilson is a project. Keegan's a starter. I'm sorry, he's a starter. He's a starter. Don't get too crazy, King Eagle. Don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy, LJ. LJ, help me out here, LJ. What'd you make of that? We had a guy even on our own network take a shit on that pick. And I've heard by the way, CBS took a shit on it. What do you make of that Trevor Keegan pick? You too, Prince. You too, Bob. Mainstays. Anthony. Joe. By the way, I'm hearing June 1. Bradbury's gone. Bradbury's gone. He's gone. Best pick for the Eagles. I agree with you. Diamond in the rough starter. Yeah. 37 starts, captain of a national title team. Joe Moore Award winner. Come on, man. Coached by Harbaugh. Now he gets Stoutland. It's the best pick in the draft. And he's enormous. Absolutely. Absolutely. B plus. I'll amend my draft grade. B plus. That Keegan kid's going to start. The safety / corner and Mitchell is going to start. Shipley's going to play. The question will be, will the quarterback find him? Trotter is an outside. He's an outlier. Yeah, me too. LJ. Jalix Hunt was a head scratcher. I know Fangio wanted him, but it was too high. Here's my problem with why I'm down on him and why I'm not down on him. I'm down at the strategy. You really think there were a ton of teams out there that were lining up in line to sit there and look at Jalix Hunter and take him with the 94th pick? Or do you think you could have waited and went into the 5th and 6th and grabbed him with one of those picks? I think he would have been there in 5. And if he wasn't, draft somebody from a Power 5 school. I don't think there were a ton of teams that were lining up to take a kid from Houston Christian. See, now look, what's going to happen with this Jalix Hunt kid is this. he's either going to turn into Hassan Reddick or he's going to be a Mike Mamula. Cooley Fangio pick. He can drop into coverage from the edge. I don't love it. They need pass rushers. Could have got a linebacker. The third round's a high pick, capital, plus the added pressure of playing in Philly. Kid better be mentally strong. Better be productive. That's for sure. And I know that's what you mean. Okay. He better be productive. By the way, Jason Cole, I'm going to ask him. LJ missed this part of the question, because Xander really gave me the topic, and I'm going to ask him. AJ Brown talking about, and people think that he's a Hall of Famer. Well, there's a ton of Hall of Fame guys trending in that way. There's 5 guys that have better numbers since 2019 with AJ. They're also trending. One of them's got a Super Bowl ring. I think the wide receiver position in the next 6 years is going to be the most difficult position to make the Hall of Fame at. Okay? Dave says Sills is in a self-reflection mode after his kid's graduation. He will himself in a week. Yeah. A week? It could be the next segment. What do you, a week self-reflecting? Hey, do I look like a guy with a plan? LJ has a long way to go to get there. Still love him, though. And that's kind of where we're going to go. Like here. Since 2019, here are your wide receivers. Tyreek Hill, 6,884. 494 catches, 51 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 424. 6,584, 56 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 508, 6502, 43 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 379, 5,947, 42 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 392, 58, 99, 30 touchdowns. And then we mentioned Cooper Kupp, who's a Super Bowl MVP at 5,600. There's a ton of guys that are trending to be Hall of Famers. Trending that way. All right, I got to take a timeout because we're going to get Jason Cole on here in a second here, and he's a Hall of Fame voter. I think that position is the toughest position to make the Hall of Fame. Guy who votes on it. And by the way, I want to make it clear again about A.J. Brown when he was at his press conference today. He bitched and cried and moaned, got his money. Did he deserve it? Yeah, he did. It just didn't make any sense of paying a guy 2 years before you had to. That was and the way the season ended for him. I don't even think he had a 100-yard game in the last 6 weeks. Jason Cole will join us. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.